All right, are we on? Let's see. Oh yeah, we've got a few people joining now. Perfect. Hey everyone, if you're just joining us or coming in, my name's Parker with Route for Me, and today, yeah, it looks like a few more people are joining. Fantastic. Looks like we've got Jim, Gary, Steve. Yeah, there's a chat window there, guys. If you can see that. Uh, for those of us joining, great. Let's go ahead and get started. Um, what we're going to be talking about today is really answering a question that we get from a lot of our customers and people coming to us looking at what we do. That question is, what are my drivers really doing? Where are they? How can you help? How does GPS tracking help solve that? Um, and we're really focusing on that question of, where are my drivers? Are they really doing their job? I just want to know more. I trust them. It's not so much showing just how tracking works, but how can you find out where your drivers are? What have they been up to? Are they doing what they're really supposed to be doing, or what they said they were doing? Um, and it's really finding out those little areas and answering that question, where those drivers might be lacking, um, where you can jump in and help, where your current system, whether you're using a current routing system, pen and paper, uh, any details like that, where that's lacking, and making sure we're not sending drivers into badly trafficked areas, making sure they're going in the right sequence, they're not driving around in circles, or just generally trying to figure it out all on their own, while also performing the service that your business does. So our motto is really about trust but verify. It's not turning your business. We're not spying on drivers. It's really about improving operations, spotting the gaps and filling them before they turn into a crack in the dam. So really, it's really about that. So I think with that, we're going to jump in and just kind of show you that. So we're not going to show you everything that Route for Me does, but this is really centered around tracking and what the drivers are really doing and how do we find that out. So you should be able to see my screen. Can everyone see my screen? Just put your hand up in there's a little hand icon where you can raise your hand. Okay, looks like okay, good. A few people said yes, very good. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm on the Route for Me homepage. You can start a free trial without a credit card at any time. I'm just going to jump in. I'm already logged in, so I'll jump into my account home. That would normally say login if I wasn't there. I've got just one route in my routes list here, so this is a very simple navigation. We try to keep everything very simple, very clean, very easy to use and understand. So I'm going to jump into this route here that I've named, Route 1, January 9th. I just click it to open it up. It'll show us a nice little map screen. And so let's go ahead and explore that. Well, there's a couple of things. We see the map screen. We can see any of the data down below, customize that. But ultimately, what we have is a route. So for example, over here, we've got a start and end point, and then we've got 8 stops on this route, going from stop 1 to stop 2 to 3, all the way to 8, and then back. Route for Me is going to get you that correct sequence, so you know that your driver should be following this route approximately. Now, of course, we can't tell if there's going to be traffic tomorrow if we planned this route yesterday. We just know that 99 times out of 100, this is going to be the correct route if the driver follows this route. Now, we get the question a lot, and looks like someone's even asked one of their questions. If you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat. I'll see if I can answer them throughout this to make sure. Just go ahead and type in the chat. I might pull someone in to jump on the phone if someone's brave enough to do that in front of the group here. But ultimately, what we have is a nicely optimized route. And the green route is the planned route. So let's kind of jump into a few things. First question is, okay, that's the planned route. How do I know where my drivers are? Well, this route gets assigned to a driver. So for example, what you're going to do is click Edit, Assign User, and you can just basically start typing in your driver's name and click Apply. Now that driver can open up the route, get all of the information, directions, uh, live navigation on our free mobile app. And as he basically downloads his route, instead of getting a printed manifest that you send him, he now has a digital, living, breathing manifest. So what he can do, or what happens, is because he's downloaded that route or is using Route for Me, we can track via GPS where that phone is. So if we want to turn that on, let's go ahead and turn on the routes. We can just see where the user is live on a map, but we can also say, hey, this route is for today. So let's go ahead and bring that up, and I'll turn the movie off. And you can see what popped up on screen, quite a few different things here. So basically you can see that there's now a blue route, and there's some, looks like little circles. We call this a breadcrumb trail. So basically what's happening is a breadcrumb trail. We have the green planned route, and then we have the blue tracked route, or the breadcrumb trail. That's a historical tracking. So you can see that this driver started at the start and end point, traveled along, and actually is performing this route correctly. So we can actually zoom in. We can see the tracking data. We can see in downtown Atlanta, for example. Let's go ahead to this first stop, and what I'd like to do is turn the driving directions off, which is the field over here. I don't particularly need to see those as someone who's an administrator or business owner, but maybe I want to see the activity feed. So for example, I can see that an address was marked as departed from an Android phone. So the driver was using an Android phone at 8:44 a.m. And it tells me who did that. In this case, I just named them driver 2. You might actually have your driver names in there. So, for example, let's go to this first stop, stop number 1. And let's zoom in on stop number 1. As soon as I click the sequence list here on the left, you can see a lot of information pops out in a new tab. The address, the alias, this is what I decide to name it. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit further here. And you can see the address visit details. So as soon as a driver marks as visited or marks as departed from the mobile app, there's a geolocated timestamp. So you can see at 1/9/2017, 8:42 a.m., the driver checked into this location. So he manually clicked the button to check in and check out at 8:42 a.m. And as soon as you hover over these, you'll notice there's a kind of a yellow highlighted circle that shows you exactly where that was. So you can see that is correct. The driver is in the right place. Now you can also notice that there's a detected as visited and detected as departed. So if I zoom in a little bit more, you'll see a green circle. As long as you have your map settings on, make sure to go to map settings and turn geofences on, so you can actually see the actual geofence. These can be, you can change the size of these, the shape of these, if you go to your account settings. So go to my account and settings if you want them larger or smaller. But basically what happens is as soon as the driver enters this location, so you can see that there's a breadcrumb trail where the driver did enter this location, we detect that that driver is within the radius of that circle, and you can see that there's automatically a timestamp that's put there, geolocated timestamp, date and time. So at 8:42 he actually came in. 8:43, you can see if I hover over that, it actually, the map moves automatically. There's a highlight. You can see the icon with the little truck with the little clock is leaving, and you can see that he has in fact departed that radius. So even if a driver forgets to mark as visited and mark as departed, you should see these detected as visited and detected as departed, the geofence timestamps. So with that said, let's go ahead and go check out the other stop here. Let's stop number 2. You can see there's a little bit of an issue with this one. The driver did mark it as visited and mark it as departed. However, the driver did not detect it as visited or detect it as departed, so that means we didn't detect it he was there. So there's a bit of an issue here. So if I scroll down, yeah, it looks like the driver marked it as visited and departed, but we didn't detect it, and we can actually see the tracking data. Looks like he may have actually missed this stop. So he could have just checked in and checked out. Maybe he's trying to save a little time here. Maybe there's an issue. Maybe there was something going on. This is an opportunity to discuss with the driver, even live in the field. Give him a call, or certainly if you're looking at your routes, the next day or the next week or the next month, you can say, hey, what happened with this stop? Because you'll have all of this data here. So you can see even the driver, as we hover over the marked as visited, he actually marked it as visited while he was at this stop. So for some reason, maybe it was a mistake, but again, we're not a spy agency. It's just giving you the clarity into your business to actually see. So for whatever reason, he marked it as visited near the first stop, which is not correct. So there's a bit of an issue going on here. And that's just an opportunity to have that conversation. So we can go to stop number 3 and stop number 4. We can zoom out and view any of the other data. So this is in progress, looks like, in this case. That is that. So in terms of the differences there, I think we discussed that. And looks like we've got a few questions. I will point out, so for example, in this particular location, you can see that the driver did straight away from the planned route. So he was supposed to come all the way down 285, but instead the driver veered and actually went off the 285 and came down, looks like some residential streets. Now the reason is when the driver is actually in the field and he sends the next stop to navigation through our mobile app, he can get live updated traffic information. So it's very possible that there was an accident or a slowdown here on 285 and he got live up-to-date traffic. So that's something that can't be predicted, but by using our mobile app, we can actually get that traffic information and make sure the driver gets to the next destination as quickly as possible. So that is said. A lot of questions come around, how do I get data out? Of course, you can kind of print any of this data. You can build a custom manifest. You can also export. If I click File and then Download As, I can export the entire route to a CSV spreadsheet that can be opened up in Microsoft Excel or OpenOffice. I can export just the tracking history if I'd like to do that, any of that information. So I think what I'll do, let's look through the chat here, see if there's any questions. All right, looks like we've got a question from Jim. Jim says, how can I see a detailed overview of all the tracking data and download it? Okay, I think I just answered that a little bit. Let me jump into the print. I'll show you that, Jim. Click File, Print here. So we're going to print this route. Now, you don't have to print everything. You're going to build the manifest however you like. The system's very flexible. So you can see the tabs up here and all of the different categories that you can print. So for example, you may not want fuel information, so I can just uncheck that. You say, hey, I don't want operations information, I don't need any of that. Go to the manifest sections, you say, hey, what I don't need any of that. I don't need to see a cover page map. Maybe you want to see that. I don't need directions. But this is a really nice and quick way to just kind of look at the times. So for example, we can see below here the times are here. You can see I've got a little bit too much on here, so I'm just going to unselect a lot of this information, turn off the order, turn off everything real quick here. Time travel details. Let's go to the address. We don't need coordinates, so I'll just turn on address and alias here. All right, so let's go over to time. So in this case, I've built a manifest here. I can print this off if I want, or just view it. You can see that these have turned green because the driver arrived early. If I just hover over that, it tells me arrived early. But maybe I want to see that. I want to see those projected arrival times, the projected departure time, the dynamic arrival times, and dynamic departure times, which is something I didn't discuss. I can show that. But basically, you can see that the times are here. The address visit details if I want to see the marked arrival time and just the detected as visited. So I can see that. You can see in this case, you can spot it very quickly. The marked arrival time at this location was 8:42 a.m. The detected as visited was 8:42 a.m. That's great. Probably don't even need to go look at that stop. But you can see that the marked arrival time was 8:43 a.m. and detected as visited is not showing up. So maybe we want to go look at this. This third stop is a little bit earlier, so maybe the driver is, not using the app correctly. We need to get a little training and just contact Route for Me for support, either through live chat, which is right here, either through email, or if you just need help, you can get support. Make sure that we can get to the driver. So call us, live chat, find an answer through our knowledge base, anything like that. So all the information's here. Maybe the driver just needs a little bit of extra help, and that's fine. Or mistakes happen. But now we know that they've happened, and we can fix it. So as they say, if you can measure it, you can manage it. So let's go back to our routes list. Any other questions? Anyone want to jump in here? Can I, if you just click the hand up icon, maybe I can bring you on the phone. Anyone brave enough to do so? Steve, you put your hand up. Can you jump in
Hi.
here?
Yeah,
Just
I
how
have a
you doing?
question. I'm doing well, thank you. I've enjoyed the webinar so far. It's been very informative. But I do have a
Great.
question. I'm concerned about breadcrumbs and how accurate that is, and how I can actually zoom into that data and see where my drivers
Sure.
are. If you can go over that for
Yeah,
me,
sure.
that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, to kind of give you or answer the question on how accurate the data is again being used from being generated from the actual mobile device, and the reporting, the GPS signal actually reports and sends out every 5 seconds on iOS, and every 60 seconds on Android. So on iOS, it's a little bit faster. You'll get tighter breadcrumb trails, but ultimately, a breadcrumb is just one little piece of data. So, for example, every little dot is just one little breadcrumb, one little piece of data. And if you hover over those, you'll get speed, time, direction, latitude, longitude, and the source. So that's really it. As soon as they're logged, it automatically gets sent. So this driver's in process. You'll actually start to see them moving on the map. I can kind of show that. Turn the tracking off here. Sorry about that. Turn that back on. You can actually view it. A movie will actually show you the green route, or the planned route that the driver should take. The simulation, or I'm sorry, I have that backwards. The movie will show you the actual route that the driver took, so it will show you the breadcrumbs. The simulation will show you the path that the driver should have taken. So we can actually play the movie here, and let's speed this guy up a little bit. Let's go 100 times. You can see he's moving at 47 miles an hour. So you can actually see where they were, the time that they spent at the locations. You can see that they're driving, and you can play that back at any time. It will update live, so as soon as the driver starts driving here, you'll start to see new breadcrumbs come in. And so all of this data is available to you. And to kind of answer your other question, you can zoom in on the data, see exactly where they were, anything like that. So did that help, Steve?
Yeah, definitely. That definitely answered my question. Now, to kind of follow up with that question, I have another one, and it's about what if one of my drivers gets to a place earlier than it's supposed to? If the route was created and he's supposed to be there a certain time, but he shows up early, do you have anything that kind of works with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So what happens, and I can show you, let me bring the tracking data back up. I turned it off here. Um, so you can see that the driver has arrived early at these three stops, and so a lot of times we have customers who call in, and they say, a customer might call into the business and say, hey, where's the driver at? Or when are you going to get to me? Or I thought you were going to be here at 10 a.m. It's now 11 a.m. What's going on? Without hanging up the phone, you can just go into Route for Me and very quickly answer the question. So you bring up the route. All the routes are searchable. You can even search by the customer's name. Click on the route just like you see here and get all of the data and say, let me take a look at that route. Yeah, it looks like store number 8. Let's come down here. And I didn't show this, so I'm showing it now. The projected arrival time. So we were supposed to be there at 12:31 p.m., which you can see here. And you can see because the driver is checked in early to these these three stores, the new dynamic arrival time is 11:18 a.m. So it's actually earlier. If the driver was late to stops, it would show this is later. So all of the stops in your sequence list get updated with that live feedback from the field.
Oh
So does
wow.
that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, that's great. That's really helpful to be able to see the projected estimated arrival times and the dynamic arrival times.
But the big benefit, that we hear from our customers is that previously, if a customer called in, people wanted to know, and it just happens. You don't have to hang up the phone and then go figure it out, call the driver, interrupt them, and then call the customer. And what happens if you don't call that customer back? You've now performed, pretty poor customer service. They're not happy, even if you were to show up on time that you said you were. Now you can be on that phone conversation. Whoever answers the phones, you can give them access to Route for Me as a user. There's different user rules, and then they can answer that question right away. And your customer says, "Okay, great. I'll be looking forward to their visit." And we do have some nice features coming out that are going to help automate that process. So stay tuned for other webinars for that. All right. All right, I'm just looking through the chat. Does anyone else have any other questions? Sounds like I think I've covered everything here. Was this helpful to everyone? If you just yes or put your hand up in the chat. Is this yes?
Yes.
Everyone says thanks. So Steve's still there. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. So, Steve, do you think you could use this in your business?
Definitely. I think that this could really help to lock down the tracking of my drivers to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're really great drivers. We have some really great people. But sometimes I just want to make sure that they're where they're supposed to be. And just like what you said, when a customer calls, it's really great for me to be able to see where my driver is to actually give them an estimated projected ETA instead of kind of giving them an estimate of 10, 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's really nice too with new drivers or fill-in drivers or part-time drivers. You know, it, Training time is a lot less, and you can also just monitor what they're doing, obviously, very quickly, and it really helps them. So, the point is to bring them up to speed. Maybe one of your, expert drivers, gets sick, can't come in, goes on vacation. The real world things happen. Putting someone now in and getting them up to speed quicker, making sure that they're doing the right things and what you want them to do, it's really, really helpful. So, yeah, that's great to hear. And if you haven't already, please start a free trial at rawforme.com. So jump in if you're an existing customer. I hope this was helpful. I look forward to the other webinars, and please reach out to us anytime. We're always happy to help. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. Thanks everyone for being on. Thanks for your participation, and please reach out to Ralph for me if we can help with anything. So have a great day, guys.